In the name of Allah Almighty, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum class. It is lecture number 3 of morphology and syntax. And today we are going to talk about morphological productivity, free morpheme and bound morpheme. So it is a bit, this lecture is in connection with the previous one, as in the previous lecture I have discussed the types of morphemes like free morpheme and a bound morpheme, how morphological productivity works. We are going to discuss it here in this lecture. Okay, so outline contains these contents which are recap of previous lecture. I'll be discussing the previous lecture. We will have just an overview of what we have studied in the previous class and we'll continue from there on. So types of morpheme, free and bound morphemes, examples and exercises, morphological productivity. Then we'll come to the topic, that is morphological productivity. There is prefixation, suffixation and references. Okay, so a recap of the previous lecture. In the previous lecture I have talked about morphemes. What are the morphemes? They are the smallest meaningful unit of language. They consist of words. They can be two types of the morphemes, which are free and bound morpheme. Free morphemes are those morphemes which can exist independently and they constitute a root word. They are the separate, distinct base word. Okay, and other morphemes are attached to the free morphemes in order to form different words. They are called as the bound morphemes. For example, I have a word that is brick. Brick is a free morpheme. It can stand alone and it has a definite meaning, while if I say unbreakable, so un is un and then breakable. So here we have three morphemes, two bound morphemes and one free morpheme. Free is break and un and able are the bound morphemes. Okay, so free morphemes. Free morphemes are the morphemes that can stand by themselves as a single word. For example, open and tour. They can stand by itself because of they already had a meaning. So since they had a meaning, so they can stand alone. So that's why they are categorized as the free morphemes. Free morphemes fall into the two categories, which are like the root word and the base word. Okay, so bound morphemes are morphemes. In free morphemes we have derivational. They are lexical and functional morphemes, which are the types of free morphemes. Okay, next we have bound morphemes. Bound morphemes are morphemes that can't normally stand alone and typically need to be attached to another form of morpheme, lexical morphemes. Exemplified as re, un, in, dis, est, ed, and etc. The technique of adding or attaching the bound morphemes into lexical morphemes is called stems. Say for example, we have a lexical morpheme which is a kind of free morpheme and we attach the bound morpheme est, ed with it, so it becomes a stem. Bound morphemes is divided into two kinds, which are inflectional and derivational morphemes. Okay, so what is morpheme? It is the minimal linguistic unit, is thus an arbitrary union of a sound and a meaning. Yes, there is some sound as well as these sounds also convey some kind of meaning. So that is what is called as morpheme. So morphemes have two main types, that is free morphemes, also called as root morphemes, also called as base morpheme. Okay, open class morphemes as well. Yes, then we have bound morphemes, which are also called as affixes, and these are class morphemes as well, and zero morphemes, which do not have any kind of change when they are converted from singular to plural, if they are used in the past tense or present tense. For instance, if we have the word that is sheep, deer, so they do not undergo any kind of transformation. That is why they are zero morphemes. While if we talk about the free morphemes, there are two types, that is lexical and functional. And in bound morphemes, we have derivational and inflectional morpheme. Okay, so morphemic analysis is dividing the constituent parts of the morphemes into distinct elements into separable units in order to analyze what type of morphemes are there. That is what is called as morphemic analysis. And consider we have an example that is undesirable. See how many morphemes are there. There are three morphemes. Number one is un, second is desire, and third is able. So it's undesirable. So desire is a root word. It can stand alone and it can have a meaning, and with the help of the sounds it is producing, it is conveying a specific meaning. Desire, okay, it is a wish. So it has a prefix that is attached before this root word, that is called as prefix, and it is represented with the morpheme that is un. And it's able is also it's a suffix because it is attached after the root word. So the morpheme which is attached after the root word is called as suffix, and the word that attached before the root word is called as prefixes. And they have a general term for both prefixes and suffixes, that is affix, and they are the types of bound morphemes. Okay, here I have also written that it's a form of bound morpheme, prefix. Root morpheme, or root is the kind of free morpheme, and suffix or able, it's kind of bound morpheme. Okay, so let's come to the morphological productivity. That is the main topic of our today's discussion. What does this term morphological productivity mean? Okay, so basically productivity refers to how often a particular morpheme is used in a language. A particular morpheme is called productive if it is actively used in not only existing words but also in word formation. For example, if we have a word and it keeps on producing other words and is involved in the formation of the other words, that is what is called as morphological productivity. For example, we have a word receive and or the receiver and receivers or received and receiving, etc. What is receive? It's a verb. Receiver, it's a noun because the person who receives, it's a noun. Okay, see, the category is being changed, the class is being changed with the help of or with the addition of that is suffix. So its class is changed. Okay, it's receiver. It's derivational morpheme now. So receivers, it's a plural. It's inflectional morpheme now. It's received, again inflectional because there is a change in the grammar. It was singular, receiver was singular, it became plural, so there's a change in the grammar. Received, there's a change in the grammar. For example, it has become the past tense of the verb receive. And receiving, its ing form, again the tense is changed, it's a continuous tense. So see how a single word can be used in the production of multiple words, and it can be used in various places and instances. This is what is called as morphological productivity as well as word formation, because multiple words are formed from a single word. Yes. On the other hand, if we divide this word receive, so what happens? It is unproductive if it is lexicalized or fossilized in a set number of words and cannot be used beyond those words. Okay, say for example, if we consider the per as prefix, re as prefix, and just detach it from the main spellings or main course of the word, that is sieve. Here we have sieve in the both words. If we separate them, so do you think that sieve will have any meaning? And it will also not stand alone. Neither it is free morpheme nor it is bound morpheme. It's just a combination of alphabets which does not convey any meaning. Okay, so whenever we say the words or the morphemes, they exist independently, it means that they can they have some kind of meaning even if they are bound. So meaning is not being conveyed if we detach both of them. So as a result, what happens? It is not being dissected. We cannot dissect it further. So it is lexicalized or fossilized. and it cannot be used beyond the words. Perceive cannot be further divided into per and sieve or re and save. Only and a suffix or prefix can be added to form other words, or there can be a grammatical change or the word class change as happened in the received, receiver, receivers, received, and receiving. So according to Lyons, productivity is a defining property of language, allowing a native speaker to produce an infinitely large number of sentences to be accounted for by the rules of grammar. Yes. By using the rules of grammar, you can use an infinite number of sentences depending on how you want to mold that information, in which category you want to add it into. So, depending on the way you use that word, you can make multiple sentences and you can use an infinite large number of sentences, but keeping in mind the rules of the grammar as well. Whereas creativity is native speakers' ability to extend the language system in a motivated but unpredictable, non-rule governed way. Yes, if we talk about creativity, so creativity is like bringing new words into the language, bringing new kind of structures, or making, or extending language system in an unpredictable and non-rule governed way. For example, if you replace the nouns with the verbs, nouns with the subjects, and make a new sentence like touch me not. Okay, so touch me not, grammatically it is not correct because it is not forming any kind of rule governed sentence. Rather, touch me not, there's verb, then there is object, and not again is at the end. We shouldn't be there. It should be like do not touch me. Okay, but non-rule governed way, it is touch me not. So that is what is called the creativity. It is not productivity. Fine. For example, this neologism means formation of the new words, also shows that the little morpheme that is or ie is still somewhat productive. It could be applied to self here and can be used on some words to create new ones while sounding natural, but could not be applied to every word. Here we have, for example, if we have the morpheme ie, okay, so it can be applied only to the self but not to the every other word. Meanwhile, the morpheme n for plural is emphatically not productive in English. We cannot use en in multiple words in multiple ways and keeping in mind the grammatical correction as well. So we cannot use it. Okay, so if this n is survived only in children, oxen, and a few dialectical words. The only time I have ever seen a neologism in English take n for plural was when Wikipedians coined user boxen as the plural of user box, which is really just a humorous analogy to oxen. Normally, we do not say that box or boxen. Rather, there is a word like there is a plural, there's ox and oxen. So there's a plural of ox, that is oxen. So we cannot use the plural of box as boxen, but few, netizens, the Wikipedians, they have coined the user boxens as the plural of user box. So it is a word that is coined, and it is what is called as linguistic creativity. It is not the linguistic productivity. Okay, so that is a humorous analogy. It's a funny analogy to oxen. So every word, every morpheme in the language cannot be, taken into the productive manner. Okay, prefixes, class maintaining prefixes and class changing prefixes. Class means, changing verb, noun, changing the grammatical class or the class of parts of speech. For example, making nouns, verbs, adjectives from the different words. Okay, if we have class maintaining prefix, atheist, it maintains the class. Theist is a person who believes in the religion. Atheist is who does not believe. Moral and amoral. So here atheist was noun. If we add an a, so it also becomes an atheist. It is noun again. Similarly, amoral, it's a noun again. Ex-member, ex-vice-chancellor, they are nouns. They remain the same. There are prefixes which do not change the class. So they maintain it the way it is. Okay. Forecast, foretell, forebrain. So for is a prefix if attached to the cast, tell, and brain. So it also maintains the class of the prefix, and it also makes it, the noun is kept intact. Okay, miniskirt and minibus, etc. They are the nouns. Okay, so class changing prefix. There are certain classes, certain prefixes, which can change the class. For example, renew. New is adjective. If you add so renew. Renew, it can be a noun as well as verb. Recall. Okay, it's again, verb. Rehearse. Imprison. Impart. So class is being changed. Prison is, a place. It's a noun, while imprison is a verb. Impart, part is also, a noun, but impart it becomes a verb. Okay, friend is a noun and be friend is a verb. Hold is a noun and be hold is a verb. So that is how the class is being changed. Able is noun and enable is verb. And large, large and rich they are the adjectives. Okay, able, large and rich are adjectives, but when we add n, so they become verbs. Similarly, suffix. Suffixes help in word formation. Rule 1. Verb plus r, al or age is equal to noun. When you add suffix, so if you add r with the paint, so it becomes painter. Paint is what? Paint is a verb, but when you add r, so it becomes painter. Arrive. If you add al, so it becomes arrival. So arrive was verb and it becomes noun. Carry was verb, and with the addition of age, it becomes carriage. It becomes noun. Okay, verb plus meant, ends are noun. Appointment, there was a verb appointment. If we add meant, so it becomes appointment, that is a noun. Accept plus ends, there's an acceptance. So accept was verb. Similarly, depart was verb. So if we add so it becomes departure. That is a noun. Adjective plus ness, ity, dom is equal to noun. If we add ness to the kind, so it becomes kindness. That is a noun. Being kind was adjective. Active is an adjective. By adding ity, we make it activity, and it is a noun. Wise was adjective, and by the addition of dom, it becomes wisdom, and it is a noun. Okay, so in rule number 4, we have noun, and if we add less, full, and ly, it becomes adjective. How? Okay, so care, fear, and hope. Just add less. Careless. Careless becomes adjective. Fearless becomes adjective. Fear was noun. Hope was noun, but with the addition of less, it becomes hopeless. Similarly, do it yourself by adding these, suffixes and make a new word and consider it as adjective, while these words are nouns. Okay, so adjective plus ly is equal to adverb. So if we add ly suffix to the adjective, so it becomes adverb. For example, kind, bold, easy, and happy. Okay, I'll do it too for you, like kind, and if we add ly, so it becomes kindly. There's a word bold. If we add ly, so it becomes boldly. There's a word easy. If we add ly, so it becomes easily. Easy is an adjective, but with the addition of ly, it becomes adverb. Happy is adjective, and if we add ly, so it becomes adverb. Okay, so rule number 6, in adjective plus n, iffy, easy is equal to verb. An adjective can also become verb if we add these suffixes. For example, broad. Broad means wider. Deep and dark. Broad, if you add en, broaden, deepen, darken, these are verbs. Iffy, false, falsify, purify, these are the adjectives, but they can verbs as well. Yes, equalize, if we add this suffix is with equal, so equalize, generalize, familiarize, so they become verbs. Yes, classification of suffixes. Derivational. There are two types of suffixes. One is derivational, other is inflectional. Derivational, they change the grammatical classes, okay, word classes, but in flexional they change the, you know, okay, derivational change the parts of speech and they change the grammatical category. Okay, derivational, right, there was a right, a writer is a noun, because we have a right that was verb and we have added er with it, so it becomes a noun, beautiful, and it is adjective. With the there was a word beauty, with the addition of full we have made it an adjective. There was careless, and that was adjective and it has become an adverb with the addition of ly. Similarly in flexional there's cats and dogs. So cats with the addition of s and dog with the addition of s, they become a plural, they are nouns. Happier and happiest, they are adjective. There is a change in the adjective. The category remains the same, but their grammatical function has changed. Went, gone, and going. So there are different categories of the verbs. Okay, so there are bound bases. The bases which cannot be dissected, which cannot be changed. They are the perceive, receive, and deceive. Okay, and next we have morphemic analysis. This you will do yourself. We have a word that is preoccupied, and there are three morphemes here, and just look at how they are divided into different their classifications: prefix, root, and suffix. Prefix, it's a bound morpheme, root is a free morpheme, and suffix is again a bound morpheme. So this is how you do the morphemic analysis.